Hey, what's up, guys? Jimbo here. I get a lot of requests every now and again to do my like what's my favorite this, what's my top 3 knives, what's my top 5 knives, what's my favorite this, and that. And it's really hard to answer those at any given time, but since it is the end of the year here, I thought that I would do kind of Jimbo's best of 2010. Not knives that were made in 2010 per se, but more knives that I have reviewed and carried and EDC'd specifically in 2010. So all the knives you see here before you, I have reviewed this year, and I have carried this year extensively. I probably carried this batch right here, probably more than any other 5 knives in my collection in 2010. So I'll be honest with you, it was really tough to whittle this list down to 5. I had a hard enough time getting it down past 7. But I just kind of decided to do a little mixed bag as far as like my favorite this kind of knife, my favorite that kind of knife, you know, a little bit from each of the brands, you know, that I collect, and tried to give you the most well-rounded best 5 for 2010 that I could. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, we'll start over here on the left. A lot of you guys know this one, the CRKT Drifter. For any of you that have seen my review on this, you'll know that I have 2 versions of it. This is the G10 handled version. I've also got the stainless steel handled version. Why did I pick the G10 version? Simply because of one of the things I covered in the review. The stainless steel one is nice. It's closer to a gentleman's folder than this one is. This is kind of the working man's knife. But this one, for me, it comes down to pure deployment speed. It's so fast and so easy to open that it's just insane. So fun to just sit there on your couch and play with. Super smooth opening, just really great. Really good texture G10, feels really great in your hand. Not too big, not too small. I mean, this is a knife that pretty much anybody could use, men, women, anybody. You know, it's just that kind of, that right, perfect size. You know, I love the titanium coating on the blade. Nice big belly, you know, great sweep on the drop point. I mean, it's just such a great and simple design that just works. Especially for the price point, you know, 13 to 17 bucks for this thing. You can't go wrong, man. CRKT has done a great job with this. The only real hit I could give on it is, again, something I mentioned in the review, is the tip-down pocket clip. If they've got so much real estate here to at least give you the option to make it tip up. They could just move one of the screws and give you the tip-up option. That would propel this thing from a good knife to a truly great knife, especially for the money. So, CRKT, if you're watching, that's really the only criticism I can give you on this one. Okay, let's move on to our Kershaw. Many of you guys know one of my personal favorite companies, and this is definitely one of my favorite Kershaws, the Kershaw Clash, the latest opus from Ken Onion / Kershaw. This one was actually made and released in 2010. A little bit on the big side, not too big for me. I've stated many times in my reviews that I'm kind of a medium-sized folder guy. This one's pushing it, but not quite crossing the line. I think it was my buddy Guitar Mikey that pointed out the discrepancy / factual error that Kershaw has on their website. If you look at the technical specs for this knife on Kershaw's official website, all the rest of them are right as far as I can tell, but the blade length is actually incorrect. They have it listed as 3 inches. Guys, I've measured this with 2 different tape measures just to make sure it's right, and this blade is 3 1/4. Exactly 3 1/4, actually. So, don't know why Kershaw doesn't have their facts straight on that. Again, not a big deal. You know, it's a 1/4 inch. It's not worth, you know, really getting upset about, but you know, they're the OEM. I think the least they could do is have the specs on their own product right. But anyways, onto the knife. This is a beefy one, man. I mean, big backspacer on it, big finger choil in the front, really, really comfortable in your hand. It's got the textured polyamide handle, which they also use on the Kershaw Scallion, and it just feels really great. Not much jimping back here, but you got a nice, you know, reasonably thick blade that starts out thick on the initial part of the spine, but it just feels so comfortable in your hand when you're doing cutting tasks that I guess I just don't mind the size of it, you know, just because of the way the knife is built and it's shaped and balanced. This is really Ken Onion at his best. You know, this is definitely one of his finer knives that he's ever created. It's up there with the Leek and the Scallion and the other ones that I like that he's done. I mean, he's really hasn't made any knives that I don't like, with the exception of the Kershaw Vapor. That thing was just a piece of crap. But other than that, when it comes to Ken Onion and Kershaw, man, he's knocked out of the park pretty much every single time with me. So, good job, Mr. Onion. And good job, Kershaw. All right, let's move on to a Benchmade. This one was a very awesome birthday gift from the lovely Keterbug 15. So thank you so much for that, Keterbug 15. A lot of you guys know this. This is one of the more famous Benchmades, the Benchmade 940, courtesy of Mr. Osborne. I believe I'd called this the Green Goblin when I'd reviewed it, because it's created by a guy named Osborne. It's got the green and purple colors, so for all you Spider-Man fans out there, I'm sure you'll get the wink wink on that. Again, this is a larger knife than the Kershaw Clash. This is a 3.5-inch blade, and that was a big reservation of mine as far as whether or not I would like it. The first one of these I saw in person belonged to my buddy Edge Weapon 88, and the one thing I noticed right off the bat was that because the knife is so thin and streamlined and just sleek, and the fit and finish is great. You know, it's not a wide knife; it's pretty narrow, like a, you know, this isn't like a butcher knife. It's more like a surgeon's scalpel. You know, it's just precision that with the dimensions of it, you almost don't notice the size. I mean, a 3.5 is what I would call a larger knife. You know, not brutishly big, but it's definitely not medium, at least not in my opinion. It's definitely not small. But with the way this knife is made and balanced and it feels in your hand, I mean, it's so just precise. You know, I don't know what else to call it but that. You know, it's so tactile and just close to perfect that, you know, it was really hard for me not to like this thing. So good job on this one, Benchmade. Okay, and let's go ahead and get into some Spydercos here. With this particular slot, guys, this one was the hardest to determine for me. I'll level with you, it really came down to this one, the Spyderco Persistence, and my most recent review, the Spyderco UK PK. And it was a really tough decision to decide between those two because they're both excellent values, and they're both just great all-around knives. The reason I picked the Persistence over the UK PK was because it fit a particular niche in my collection, that being, this is basically my favorite hiking knife. The texture on it, the pocket clip, the way it feels in my pocket, the blade shape, all that stuff. I mean, this is my outdoor go-to folder, and it has been pretty much since I got it. This is as I'm sure a lot of you know, this is the baby brother to the Spyderco Tenacious, and the recently released, the big brother to Spyderco Resilience. The reason I picked this one over the Tenacious, as far as which one I wanted to purchase, was basically because of the size and the shape of it. The Tenacious has a bit thinner of a blade. This one's kind of short and chubby. You know, it's just a little bit thicker, or a little bit wider, I should say, than the Tenacious. That one's a little bit longer. But this one, it's just the shape and just the way it feels in your hand just works for me. I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than that. I mean, it just seems to fit my hand size. I would say I have medium-sized hands perfectly. The fit and finish on the knife itself is great, especially for the price point of like 27, 28 bucks. You know, nice polished liners there, the 4-way pocket clip, it's polished, you can't go wrong with that. Look at the finish on the blade, nice and shiny. You know, the G10 on this is kind of what I judge all G10 by. Like, this is my favorite example of quality G10. Reason being is that it's got grip, but not a lot of slip. I mean, it just feels so comfortable in your hands without being abrasive, and it doesn't eat up your pockets. You know, it's smooth enough to not tear up your jeans. But it's, at the same time, your grip on it is pretty good. I mean, it's not, I felt grippier G10, I felt less grippy G10, but this one is, like, to me, the perfect balance of the two between grip and slip. So, Spyderco, really great job on this. The only real suggestion that I could give you as far as this knife is concerned is, since we've got the Tenacious, which is bigger than this, and then we got the Resilience, which is even bigger than that, why don't we see a little big, what they call their little big knife version of this, where you've got one that's about half the size. So it'd basically be about the size of the Spyderco Cat or Spyderco Chicago. So basically just this same knife, just shrunk down. Same materials, you know, same proportion dimensions and everything, same blade style, all that stuff. Just shrink it down and make a little big knife version of that. I really think that would be a huge seller. I would be the first to buy one, and I don't think I'd be alone on that. So Spyderco, if you're watching, that would be my big suggestion for you guys for 2011. Let's see a little big version in the Persistence, Tenacious, Resilience line. Other than that, outstanding job. Okay, and last but not least, you guys know what this is, the Spyderco Sage Uno, Sage 1. This was actually the very first Spyderco I ever owned. And I got to tell you right off the bat, I was spoiled because I kind of expected all Spydercos to be this awesome every time. And there are great Spydercos, don't get me wrong, guys. There's a lot of them I like, but there are very few of them that measure up to the true quality of this knife. This, to me, is like the best liner lock knife ever made, at least of all the ones I've ever seen. It's rock solid on the lockup, absolutely zero play, nice rock solid lockup, but so easy to deploy and close. It's just the definition of smooth. The titanium wire pocket clip, I think this was the first Spyderco knife to feature this. I could be wrong, guys, but fairly certain. It's titanium. It's just, you know, the textured carbon fiber on the handle. This is my first S30V knife. Guys, I still haven't had to sharpen this thing, and I've carried the shit out of this thing. For something that's made, let me see if I can get that to show up. Come on. All right, it's not going to show up. There it is. That's made in Taiwan. I was just blown away at the quality control on this. I mean, this is just incredible. You know, you can go low up here, you can choke up a little bit higher. Great jimping, both above and below. 3-inch blade, perfect size for me. The handle just feels great, nice textured carbon fiber. I mean, it's a premium EDC, but this is one I have no problem carrying. I mean, it's such a quality, well-built knife that every time I carry it, I am just so floored by how great of a job that Spyderco does on this knife. So I'm looking forward to the Sage 2, and the Sage 3 is coming out pretty soon. I'm looking forward to that. This one really set the standard for me and made me fall in love with Spyderco. So I'm very glad that I picked this one up, because after that I just got the Spyder fever, you know, and just started picking one after another up. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I've done my best to kind of cover all the types of knives that I like to carry, you know, from the budget conscious, like these three right here, to the more premium knives. I've tried to give you the best mixed bag, but this is definitely what I would call my top 5 of 2010. These are my 5 favorite carry knives that I got and reviewed this year. I hope to do a follow-up video to this in 2011. I'm sure I'll have a ton more knife reviews for you, and we'll see what we come up with then. But thanks everyone so much for watching. I appreciate everyone's time, and as always, stay fit, stay strong, stay supreme. Take care, guys.